My name is Alan Freed, and we're in Alexandria, Virginia. It's June 8th, 2014, and I've been requested by the National Railroad Historical Society for their oral history project. They've asked me to interview my father, who had a long and varied career on the railroad. So we're here together, and Sunday afternoon, and so I'm just going to get started and go talk to my dad a little bit in an informal way about his life and his history on the railroad. Okay, Pop, we're now in the early 1950s. You're at Atlantic Coastline.
Right.
You're working in the terminal. You got a good job. Life is good. Of course, the big event that everybody talks about and everybody remembers about Union Station, especially in that time, was the wreck of the Federal when the Pennsylvania Railroad train came into the concourse on one morning. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Because as I recall, you weren't quite yet at work when it happened, or something.
No, I wasn't at work. My office was about 30 feet from where it plunged into the basement. I remember the Federal came in on track 15 or 16. That was the main track for them to come in. And I remember they got, I guess, from A Tower out there in the yard saying that we got a runaway. And I don't know whether you were in there at the time or not, but a friend of yours, a friend of mine, Tony Casali, I believe his name was, you knew him when you worked as a fireman for the railroad down there. So he run out telling everybody to clear out the place, and it's a good thing he did, because when the train come in, it took the station master office, it took the Union newsstand with them, and fortunately the floor wasn't strong enough to hold the GG1, and if it had gone about 15 feet further, it would have gone into the main concourse, but it was on the outward concourse, which is still a big concourse.
It would have gone into the waiting room, you mean?
It would have gone into the waiting room, yeah. Instead, it fell down through the floor into the baggage room downstairs. And it took with them one or two cars. Very fortunate nobody got hurt. I mean, seriously hurt, you know.
Yeah.
But it was a bad time for it to happen, because it was in 1953, I think, when Eisenhower's inauguration was going on. And so they had to put here's this big hole in the floor, and they
with
had
a locomotive in it.
And a locomotive in it, and they built this big fence around it. So, fortunately, it didn't hit my office. It was, like I said, 30 feet or so, but it made it a little hard for us to walk around. You had to go the whole way around to get to our tracks. Our tracks, Coastline ran out of the lower level, which is tracks 23, 4, and 25. So, but it was a hard time, but it was a good time, because fortunately nobody was really hurt.
And as I recall, didn't really disrupt hardly anything. Everything went fairly normally after that.
It did. It went fairly normal. They really handled it beautifully. I mean, they blocked it off and everything. They had to cut the thing up, take it apart to get it out of there.
And they had like a fence, like a cloth wall, or hung.
They had a temporary wall.
So you couldn't even tell it was there.
No, you couldn't. And then, of course, people wanted to come into your office. Could you take them out to see the wreck? Well, you did what you could do, but it was. They did handle it well, and it was a trying time at the time, really, basically.
And did it take them? Do you remember? Did it take them? It didn't take them that long to get it all cleaned up and the locomotive out of there.
No, they did well getting it out of there. I guess I'm not sure they took all of it out on the post office side or how they did it, but they worked day and night and got it out of there. It wasn't too long. It worked fine.
And then they took the engine back in 3 pieces to Wilmington and put it back together.
Put it back together again, yeah. I think it's still sitting up there.
It's in Baltimore. It's in Baltimore, I think.
Is it Baltimore? I know it's up there somewhere. Was something that would you'd say was unusual, but they handled it very well.
Thanks a lot, Pop.